What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Monday. Glad to have everybody along. Another big week for A to Z Sports as at the end of the week, the Titans have their new rookies on the field with rookie minicamps. The first opportunity to see Will Levis and what jersey number he might have picked, but also leading off the week with a big conversation about the Titans franchise as a whole and the direction they're trying to go with this season. And are they being honest with themselves? Are they trying to have their cake and eat it too? Are they doing a bunch of things and not committing to what an actual direction might be? We're going to have a big time conversation about why the Titans are the most confusing team in the NFL because of the different sides of the coin they're trying to play this season in 2023 under head coach Mike Vrabel and also first year GM Rand Carthon. Zach, welcome in. We're going to have a great show this morning on a fun topic, I think. We've got some audio to play from the Locked On NFL Scouting podcast where Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino went through and they had a really good little clip about what they think they see in the Titans' direction, and we'll react off of that. What is the Titans' main priority this season? Is it to win the AFC South or to set themselves up for the future? Because whenever you try to do both, usually one doesn't go well or neither goes well. So, Zach, we're going to dive into this completely. So welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah, I got a big week ahead. On this Monday, we're talking about, the future of the franchise as a whole. And so we've got some good questions. And today's Ask Me Anything, it's a little unique. We're going to go riddles. I'm going to have 3 riddles, and we'll see if you and the chat can guess the correct answer of those riddles. It'll be a time trial as well to prevent Googling. So we'll see how that works. That's the creativity of a Monday on Ask Me Anything. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you locked in right there. We'll tweet out segment by segment, link by link on our Twitter page at A to Z Sports. So give us a follow on Twitter at ATOZ Sports. And if you're on YouTube, a lot more people are watching on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe if you have not already. We want to get to 15,000 subscribers. We're well on our way. We need more subscribers. We need more people in the community that interact and watch this show each and every day, whether it's live or afterwards, whether it's on audio or on YouTube later. But subscribe. And if you've already subscribed to our YouTube, hit the like button on this video right now. We haven't officially started the show yet, so there is time. If you got to, back out to like the show, bounce back in, do whatever you can, but like the show. It gets the community and grows it. Also, Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. More people will pile in over the next 5 to 10 minutes as you guys do share the show. I've shared the show on my Facebook. You guys should do the same. And we'll get this party started on a Monday morning.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter timeline, and also hit us up on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage. Got to thank our sponsors because they truly make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Like Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. That means better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, who is all about keeping you safe online, for a 2-week free trial to find out how many data brokers are sharing your information. Go to aura.com/ATOZ. That's AURA.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer located in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Visit them online at KrebsKubota.com. So, Zach, we've talked a lot this offseason about what are the Titans trying to do? What is their goal? What type of moves are they going to make? Flashback to February, we talked a lot about these 3 R words: rebuild, reset, retool. The Titans really doing much of those. I would say maybe reset is the situation with Ryan Tannehill there on that graphic. So we've got that we've talked about for the last several months. But I was listening to podcasts over the weekend, getting some stuff done around the house, and I came across the NFL scouting Locked On podcast with Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino, and I found an interesting topic they had. They were going through all AFC teams, and they were trying to put them into certain buckets for the direction of their the franchises in the AFC. So they went in alphabetical order, so I had to wait until the very, very end to get to the Tennessee Titans. But their buckets were as followed. Long-term contender, which is like the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills. They've got their quarterback. You understand what those teams are going to look like, and they should win a bunch of games for the long term. Win now pressure. The New York Jets just get Aaron Rodgers. There's pressure to win right now. Then there's the young contender, maybe like the Jags, who broke through last season. The Dolphins, who have a second-year head coach after making the playoffs last year, as young contenders. Teams in transition, rebuilding, which they said the Texans are rebuilding. And then they have another bucket that's called directionless. And that would be the Texans of last year are directionless. So we're trying to figure out, and they're going through the exercise of putting all these teams into these buckets. And they get to the Tennessee Titans. And I think we've all understood that the Titans are really tough to label. And that's what makes them the most confusing team in the NFL. And the guys from the Locked On NFL Scouting podcast with Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino, they kind of agreed. And here was a part of their conversation about the Tennessee Titans and their direction.
I think because they haven't taken the plunge completely with Tannehill and Derrick Henry yet, they should probably go in the team in transition bucket. But if we're being really honest about what they have to do, they would go in the rebuilding bucket.
Right.
I don't know. Do the actions of the fact that they've drafted a quarterback on day 2 of each of the last 2 drafts and the reports of floating out Derrick Henry available via trade, does that tell you more about their intent, or does the fact that they haven't done it and they have spent money to try to bridge the gap and transition tell you more?
We have to factor in that this is the first year under Rand Carthen as the GM, too. They just paid Simmons $1 bazillion. They asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut. They really did that, and they admitted to it openly.
This might be the weirdest team on here.
100%. Because they got their toes in a couple of different buckets here.
Right. If you could put them halfway in rebuilding and halfway in team in transition, you would.
But they haven't committed to either. Might be the worst thing for them. Like, congrats on your 7 wins.
Right. So the question is, what have their intentions told us more of what they think that they are? What have their actions told us more of what they think that they are? I think that's the key of what we have to answer.
Krabs and Joe Marino talking there, Zach. I think some buzzwords and some key quotes of that is, this might be the worst thing for them. They haven't committed to either transitioning into contending or trying to rebuild, to rip the Band-Aid off. And that might leave them in purgatory with a second-round quarterback that we don't really know what Will Levis might turn into. So I believe that was the first time you've heard that clip this morning. So, Zach, what were your initial reaction to what you heard there?
Well, I agree with some, and then I disagree with others. I've stood by this since the first show after the draft when I got back from Kansas City that I did, is I view Will Levis and will continue to view Will Levis as a first-round pick. They tried with 3 different teams to trade back into the first round. They traded up in the top of the second round. So, yes, literally, physically, he is a day 2 quarterback. But they tried their damnedest and valued him as a first-round quarterback. And they couldn't find a partner. That happens. It's okay. And we've seen that time and time again with the Titans, with Corey Davis, Isaiah Wilson, of the rumors afterwards saying that they tried to trade back, but they couldn't find a trade partner. So Will Levis, I believe, in the eyes of the Titans and in my eyes, is the quarterback of the future in their eyes, in the Titans franchise. And we'll find out what that actually means and how it works out in the next several years. I think I do agree with some of the things of Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. They are still a quality duo. Now, to what type of quality? The last 2 years, both of those guys, respectively, have been hurt. They've been injured. Derrick Henry missed 9 games 2 years ago. Ryan Tannehill was in and out of the lineup where Malik Willis and Joshua Dobbs eventually ended the season. So when Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, Austin, play consistently in a full season, the Titans do compete. Now, to what degree? Because the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills have all taken, they've all leveled up, right, in the last couple of years. Because, as you mentioned, they have their quarterback. But I think that is the mindset of the Titans is ifs and buts, beers and nuts, but if the Titans have Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry in the backfield, they can compete. And if you're competing for an AFC South divisional title, you've got two wild card teams in the Colts and the Texans with very young quarterbacks that could be very talented. One could hit, one couldn't. They also could come out of the gates and have a first year like Trevor Lawrence did with the Jags and be terrible. Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars have matured over the last 2 seasons heading into kind of year 3. They are the biggest competition. But right there, if Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill are healthy, the Titans are competing as well. And it's hard to argue that.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Will Levis are trying to trade back into the first round to get Will Levis. I also did hear that the Titans called 3 teams to try to get back into the first round.
That's what I mentioned.
Yeah. But the specific teams of trying to get back into the end of the first round to talk about that. So let's get to some comments here in a second and then get you guys involved with our big question here. But first here on the show, let me tell you about our great sponsor, new sponsor that we introduced last week. That is Krebs Kubota. They are Middle Tennessee's elite Kubota dealer located in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Their website is simply KrebsKubota.com. They sell, service, and supply all of the Kubota equipment in the industry, and the best equipment in the industry. And they have a large selection of that inventory in stock at all 3 of those locations right now. Krebs Kubota believes in customer satisfaction and is rooted in an outstanding parts and service department. It is Krebs Kubota's goal to have the best parts and service in the industry, which stands behind the best equipment in the industry. So go check them out. Once again, over 18 years serving Middle Tennessee in Franklin, Columbia, and in Murfreesboro. Check them out online at KrebsKubota.com.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the app today. I had a terrible day yesterday, an absolute awful day. I lost a lot of money and not happy about it, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And there's more playoff games on the horizon to get back into the saddle. But I'm an honest man. I don't win all the time. And I lost yesterday. But it doesn't deter me from getting back on that saddle and riding the BetMGM horse. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports and download the app today.
All right. So according to Daniel Jeremiah, who went on the Greenlight podcast with Chris Long, the Tennessee Titans attempted to trade back up into the first round, and they talked to the New York Giants, who picked 24th. They talked to the Buffalo Bills, who actually were originally 27th, but they moved up with the Jags to go get Dalton Kincaid, the Utah tight end. And then at the very end, they tried to trade back up into 31 overall with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I feel like the Chiefs hosting the NFL draft and being the Super Bowl champions, it would be a big PR letdown to not have a first round pick in the draft that they're hosting, right? Like if the Chiefs, they've been waiting all night, 31 overall, Super Bowl champs on the clock. They trade to the Tennessee Titans. Like, damn.
I was talking to Chiefs fans on the floor.
Yeah.
And we were joking about that, being like, these people are staying for this full draft.
That's right.
And that worked out for the NFL, right? Because it looked great because they weren't going to leave. It wasn't like they had picked early in the night. They were waiting around for that pick, whatever that pick was. So that's a very valid point is now business is business. So maybe, if you give them a great deal, they make that, but they didn't take it. And the Titans couldn't get back up into the first round for that 5th-year option.
Yeah. And then so Donald kind of goes along with what I think. He says, if the Donalds truly wanted Levis like that, they'd take him at 11.
Wrong. You're dead ass wrong, Donald. You're wrong.
Hold on. I'm trying to set this up. Okay, here. And I kind of think that's a microcosm of the conversation we're talking about now, because I agree that if you love a prospect for your franchise quarterback, then you don't want to gamble by letting him go to somewhere else. But also, you have the ability of, great value at 33 overall. Like if it hits, then you got your franchise quarterback at 33rd overall. And all you did was give up a future 3rd round pick. And so that's kind of what the Titans are doing here. They're playing both sides of the coin on trying to plan for the future, but also keep your toes in the win now, contend for the AFC South bucket?
Let's go through an exercise. What was
Okay.
the worst part about the Titans last year?
The offensive line.
Bingo. The offensive line. So they valued the offensive line. That's why they took Peter Skoronski at 11. They also knew this. Let's do another exercise.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a threshold after a certain number of teams had already drafted that quarterbacks were going to fall? That other teams did not need quarterbacks.
Yes.
That's how it always works.
Yes.
So, therefore, that school of thought that if you love your quarterback, you should have taken him at 11, that's dead ass wrong, because they knew that there was a threshold. Once their quarterback that they valued got past 11 and past a pick that they valued more that they got, then I think it tells you everything that they were trying to trade back in. That tells you that they loved him, but they also knew that they could get best of both worlds. We're going to say, have your cake and eat it too quite a bit, because that describes the Titans. In the draft, they did the same damn thing. They had their cake and they tried to eat it too by drafting a offensive lineman to help the worst part of their roster and draft a future first-round quarterback. They were unable to get back into the first round, not because of the Titans, but because of other teams.
Look, I don't like overall. I follow.
So
right?
So let's set aside. Well, man, if you loved him, you would have taken him at 11. Stop that crap.
I still believe that. I still believe that.
You're wrong. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. I've just explained it to you.
I've been wrong a million times, and I'll continue to be wrong a million times too. But I've been right. I've been right big. A couple times.
You're wrong on this one.
That's fine.
We do the show enough. You can be right and wrong. I'm just telling you and Donald and whoever else in the chat agrees with that if you love your franchise quarterback, you take it 11. They got a better value with what they did.
Yeah, I know. I believe that you're not trying to get your franchise quarterback with value and play that game, right? That you're bargaining.
That's how the draft fell, though.
I get it. Right?
Do you?
I do. I promise you, Zach, I do. But as a principle, it is like the franchise quarterback is everything in this. And the whole philosophy of this show is why the Titans are the most confusing team in the NFL is because they aren't committing to one direction. They're currently trying to go and play two different cards of, are they trying to transition? Are they trying to rebuild? Are they still trying to contend and win football games? Or are they trying to set themselves up for the future? So let's continue real quick. Kane's got a super chat in here. He says, this is an 8 and 9 win team at best. They didn't do enough to win the division or truly compete in the AFC, regardless of the quarterback. So where's the confusion? Well, we're going to play the audio again, real quick, Zach. We'll play the audio again. And I think our question that we have off of this is really fascinating for us, who we are in the weeds when it comes to the Titans, right? A to Z and everybody who watches our shows and consumes our content, we know the Titans situation like the back of our hands. But I do find it interesting that when people who do national podcasts over the NFL are kind of viewing the same deal of trying to figure out what bucket of direction do the Titans fall under.
I think because they haven't taken the plunge completely with Tannehill and Derrick Henry yet, they should probably go in the team in transition bucket. But if we're being really honest about what they have to do, they would go in the rebuilding bucket.
Right.
I don't know. Do the actions of the fact that they've drafted a quarterback on day 2 of each of the last 2 drafts and the reports of floating out Derrick Henry available via trade, does that tell you more about their intent, or does the fact that they haven't done it and they have spent money to try to bridge the gap and transition tell you more?
We have to factor in that this is the first year under Rand Carthen as the GM, too. They just paid Simmons $1 bazillion. They asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut. They really did that, and they admitted to it openly.
This might be the weirdest team on here.
100%. Because they got their toes in a couple of different buckets here.
Right. If you could put them halfway in rebuilding and halfway in team in transition, you would.
But they haven't committed to either. Might be the worst thing for them. Like, congrats on your 7 wins.
Right. So the question is, what have their intentions told us more of what they think that they are? What have their actions told us more of what they think that they are? I think that's the key of what we have to answer.
Krabs and Joe Marino there with that Locked On NFL Scouting podcast, trying to figure out the Titans are in the team in transition bucket, or like with the Raiders and some other situations in the AFC, or are they rebuilding like the Houston Texans are doing with foundational pieces, but not getting rid and hanging on for another year with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, and then trying to, go after Will Levis, getting Tyjae Spears in the third round, a plug and play first round pick with Peter Skoronski, makes you feel like they're trying to do both at the same time. Hey, and if you can have your cake and eat it too, great, go for it. But does it work out like that all the time? I don't know. So here's the question, Zach, that we came up with this morning based off of this entire topic. And I find this pretty interesting. What do we think the Titans' main priority is this season? Are they trying to truly win the AFC South, or is the main priority to set up for the future? So that's the question we want to get you guys involved with.
Don't say both.
Yeah, do not say both. That is not an answer. What is the Titans' main priority this season? Win the AFC South or set up for the future? But Zach, first tell us all about Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com. Now you're setting up to win for the future and the now. This is actually both.
Farm Bureau Health Plans is both, right?
You can do both. And I've done both. When I switched to Farm Bureau Health Plans, you can switch to get a quote today: health, dental, vision, Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee. If you live in the state of Tennessee, like I do, I took advantage of their health plan. I'm really glad that I did. I get free teledoc conferences when I'm under the weather. I get dental benefits, including free teeth cleanings. I get contact lens allowance, which I've never had in my life with any other health plan I've had. And it honestly is a comfort feeling because I know Farm Bureau Health Plans, and this is proven. This is tried and true. I've experienced this over the last year. I feel safer and more comfortable with my health plan since I switched. So visit FBHP.com/ATOZ and get a quote today. That's Farm Bureau Health Plans of Tennessee.
Also with BetMGM, you can win with Major League Baseball one-game parlay insurance. It's pretty easy. You opt in to that feature on your BetMGM app, and then you can get up to $25 back in bonus bets of insurance if your Major League Baseball one-game parlay of 4 legs or more falls just 1 leg short. So make sure you play smart with all the features that BetMGM has to offer. So Zach, the interesting question that we have here, and the answer absolutely cannot be both. What is the Titans' main priority? Win the AFC South or set up for the future? I'm very curious to see what the chat has in store here. So Zach, what do the people say there on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch this morning?
Jared goes, you play to win the game. So kind of leaning more towards winning this year. Devin says, I don't understand what the brass thing is a downside of a complete rebuild. They're trying really hard to have a crappy draft pick next year. So it is maybe saying in the rebuild. Let's see. As we scroll down, Eric goes future, set up for the future from Antonio, future from Nicholas, set up for the future for Tighten Up. Stanley says win the AFC South, win from Hammer, AFC South champions from Jamel, South from Clayton. We've got win the AFC South, especially with Vrabel as your coach. So with Paulie D, win from Mr. Jones, win now, set up for the future from Jonathan, future from Caleb, win the AFC South from Johnny, win the NFC South from Quay, and then you've got Guy who says set up for the future. So I mean, it's going back and forth. Ed goes future, Johnny goes future, but then you've got Brent saying win the AFC South. So all of these answers, I mean, there's some good answers, but they're mixed. This is truly, I feel like, kind of a 50-50, which is not surprising because that truly are and honestly, the podcast said the 2 reasons why the Titans are the most confusing team is because they've got Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Their actions, some of their actions, I don't say all of them, saying that they're trying to win. And then the other reasons is they're drafting a future quarterback, right? So, where are you on this of what you think that they're trying to do more next year?
And go back to the podcast. So why the Titans are the most confusing. I listened to the entire AFC side of this episode, and the Titans were by far the toughest bucket to place the toughest team to place into a single bucket. The second was probably the Baltimore Ravens, as they were discussing, are the Baltimore Ravens a long-term contender because they just re-signed Lamar Jackson, or are they a team in transition because of having to commit that money to Lamar Jackson, but also changing up their offensive coordinator and changing up several other things. But the Titans by far are a more confusing team to figure out what their direction is than the Ravens. Thomas says winning the AFC South, which would set up for free agents for next season to want to come to Nashville. It has now feel like it's been a couple of years since the Titans have been an attractive free agent destination. Zach, you remember a few years ago, Mike Vrabel came in and they were hosting Ndamukong Suh on like free agent visits, and
Jadeveon Clowney, Julio Jones. These are guys. Now they didn't work out very well, but that's the risk of free agency. But they were not in the conversation with Vince Young and Jake Locker and the era of Munchak and Rustin Webster. They just weren't.
No, and they were a directionless franchise for several years, and so they had a spurt where it was an attractive team in free agency to come to. I think when in the draft, like if you're Peter Skoronski or Will Levis or Tajay Spears, the Titans are an attractive team to be drafted to because of what those three players' skill sets are. And so, we all know about the wide receiver thing, that no wide receiver would want to come to Tennessee because you don't get many opportunities. Tress says, win the South, worry about today, book of James chapter 4. Tomorrow isn't promised, LOL. So, Zach, my answer to this question, I think the Titans' main priority is to go for and win the AFC South. That is what I believe they are trying to do. Is it what they should do? I don't know. But I also feel like that's what they're trying to do, but they're not going as all in as they should. They're not, if their goal is to win the AFC South, then they should do more at the wide receiver position to help out winning right now. And that's why I feel like the Titans are playing themselves to an extent, because I don't think they're going to be able to win the AFC South with what they have under contract. Yes, when Ryan Tannehill is healthy, the Titans are a playoff team. That is a fact. When Derrick Henry is hurt, they can still make the playoffs if Ryan Tannehill is there. When both of them are healthy, the Titans can win any game they step into. But I just feel like without any dynamic, proven weapon on the outside, the likeliness of them doing that is just difficult to me, because the Jags are continuing to get better. The Jags are a young contender. They are now in year 2 with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. They had a lot of free agents they brought in 2 off seasons ago, and they, for the most part, worked. And now they're stacking up draft picks to help them add depth, and they're not drafting for need anymore. So the Jags are a legitimate threat and should be the heavy favorites to win the division. The Colts are also interesting because Anthony Richardson playing will burn you at times because of his dual threat ability, and him taking advantage of some maybe undisciplined defense at times can hurt you in moments. And the Texans, we've seen the Texans have been one of the worst football teams in directionless over the last 2 years, but they've still found ways to beat the Titans, in those situations. And so I think the Titans' main priority is to try to win the AFC South, but I don't think they're doing a good enough job of making that an actual reality.
All right, let's get to some super chats, because I do think that one super chat brings up a good conversation. Andre says that, talking about Levis, he knew he wasn't a top quarterback, which in itself is a problem. Everything is value. Rather skip a quarterback and build out the roster than go with Levis. And I think Levis is a huge X factor to this conversation, because it justifies an action of the future. And because of them drafting a quarterback in the second round, the trickle down effect actually prevented them from drafting a wide receiver, which is an action to define that they are trying to help their current roster.
Yeah.
And so that's why this thing is so unique. Ryan Field says the fact that the Titans didn't have a legitimate wide receiver tells them that they're setting up for the future. Ryan Tannehill needs a wide receiver to stick around, and Levis needs a wide receiver to develop. And so far, we can only justify on what has happened up until this point, but they don't have a wide receiver that really is a threat. Treylon Burks is a second-year unproven wideout. That's what he is. Yes, he's a first-round pick. Yes, he had a good game against the Packers, But
he had a good stretch of games, right? Like there were maybe 3 games. I'm looking it up now.
there's a glimmer of this guy could be really good.
Yeah,
But there
yeah.
is no solidification of,
Well,
wow, this
here it
guy's
was,
going to
right?
be a huge threat.
Like Traylon Burks went Green Bay Packers, 7 catches for 111 with a long of 41. He had another pretty long catch in there early in that game too. Then he follows that up the next week with against the Bengals with 4 catches for 70 yards and had another long reception there too. So you started to see them develop some nice deep down the field shots towards Traylon Burks. And then the next game, so this would be the 3rd consecutive game, was at the Eagles. And his first catch was a 25-yard touchdown, but he got rocked in the face by Mike Epps that should have ejected Mike Epps, but it did not. It was a meaningless personal foul penalty where Traylon Burks caught his first touchdown, but got concussed and then missed the next 3 weeks. And so that's what continued to disrupt. Like if Traylon Burks would have caught that 25-yard touchdown, took a big hit, but had not gotten concussed and continued to play, maybe he would have put together another 70-yard game or more, and then maybe continue to stack those things together. But we all got robbed of seeing that play out because of the Burke situation.
We got robbed of Jake Locker's entire career. I mean,
yeah, but now
no one cares. Like,
but now
it worked out the way that it did.
Yeah, and look, he did come back against the Cowboys when Josh Dobbs was playing and had 4 catches for 66 yards. And you're like, okay, that's a good time you saw something there when him coming back from the concussion. But again, it's not enough to be like Traylon Burks, 440 yards and 1 touchdown. He's your guy.
Yeah, he's not enough to say they're one wide receiver away from being a huge contender in the AFC. You just don't know that yet. They're one wide receiver away from being a better football team. I mean, I think we know that.
Yeah,
John Doe brings up.
I was gonna get to John's comment here in a second, but Mr. Jones says he is proven, as in Traylon Burks. He's not proven. I think you can have confidence that he can prove himself, but he is not proven at all.
In no way could you say that Traylon Burks is a proven wide receiver.
Right?
That's comical.
I think you can say you have confidence that Traylon Burks can prove himself.
Yeah, optimism.
Yes. Yeah.
But optimism is the opposite of proven. Like, come on. So I set that aside. Here, John Doe brings up this. He says, I have a question. Is it better to throw Levis in the fire and cut Ryan Tannehill post-June and use the money to try to get a wide receiver that presents itself, or let him sit a year and learn? Now, this is a conversation for another day. I think I think it's valid. I've stood by exactly what I felt. I would love to go back and present what has been said in the show. But here is my answer. It is obvious that the Titans are trying to bridge the gap. They are trying to supplement what they can so they have their cake and eat it too. They win and have their future quarterback, right? And that's not a terrible philosophy, right? That is a winning mindset from Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. It is. But I also think it is very difficult to do, and something is probably going to fall short.
Mm-hmm.
I do compliment the Titans for addressing their biggest team need this offseason, which was the offensive line. It made them lose 7 games to end the season. Like that and the quarterback situation. But the offensive line was the reason why they were in that spot in the first place. But my answer is they're trying to win the AFC South. And they are doing, and I'll compliment them again, they're doing what they should do with 2 massive expiring contracts. They are sitting there saying, we signed these deals. They can get us through at least 1 more year. And they don't know. I don't know what they feel about Derrick Henry. Will they extend him? Will they cut him? Will Tannehill play his way into a wildly new contract? Right? I have no idea. That's why they play the game. But their actions, now, this is all for naught if they cut Ryan Tannehill after June 1st. Now we know exactly what direction that they're going. Right?
Yeah.
And don't you believe that the script is flipped? And now, instead of winning the AFC South, if Will Levis is your starting quarterback this season, you're rebuilding.
So we're both answering the question, and everybody in the chat answered the question. What is the Titans' main priority this season? Win the AFC South or set up for the future? We both said that we think they are trying to win the AFC South. I have a concern about it. I'm going to get to you in a second, but first let me tell you about our great sponsor, Aura. You need to go to this link, aura.com/ATOZ. That's aura.com/ATOZ. And you can get a 2-week free trial for what Aura has to offer, because Aura is all about keeping you safe online. And they found in their Aura app that my information was held by 30 data brokers. And then over a 1-week span, which is less than a 2-week free trial, they removed my information from 29 of those 30 data brokers. And so I am getting less robocalls, less telemarketers. I'm getting less spam calls. And I'm also getting less spam emails and less junk mail in my actual physical mailbox at my home. They've opted me out of those lists on my behalf automatically. So they have every internet safety tool you'll ever need inside of one app, the Aura app, a VPN, password manager, real-time credit, and identity theft monitoring. So let Aura do the hard work for you by keeping you safe online, and sign up with our link, aura.com/ATOZ. I posted it in the chat. It's also in the description on YouTube, aura.com/ATOZ, and you get a 2-week free trial to make your life a little bit less of a hassle of answering calls that you don't want coming to you in the first place. So aura.com/ATOZ.
I will say this. I signed up last week using that code.
Yeah.
And it took me about 8 minutes. And I haven't received a spam call.
Yeah.
I monitor these type of things.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you say that you're going to do something, this is, look, we signed on with Aura. I appreciate that. I didn't know much about them before. I have not received a spam call since I signed up.
I'm telling you. So it took you 8 minutes. It took me 3, because you might have signed up for more stuff. You might have worked in and opted into more features than I did. So Aura is really easy, and you can go as deep as you want to with all.
You do get some emails to start. I will say this. Look, I'm just going to be full disclosure of this. You get a bevy of emails right after you sign up, but after that, I haven't received one, and I haven't received a spam call. So
there you go.
Proof is in the pudding.
Mark said he signed on, and glad he did. So aura.com/ATOZ.
So there you go. A bonus code ATOZ Sports. They're the king of sportsbooks. I'm talking about BetMGM. Get up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet misses. That is BetMGM. Download the app today.
All right, so Zach, we both answered the question that we think the Titans' main priority is to win the AFC South. I think I have a concern that comes in my mind about how they're going about this. And it's kind of the track record of the head coach, right? Mike Vrabel is very confident in his ability to be a football coach and a head coach in the NFL, right?
As he should be.
Yeah, he's a former coach of the year, right? A couple of seasons ago, 93 guys played in the game, and they won 12 games and the number 1 seed in the AFC. Very deserving coach of the year. But I feel like the Titans are approaching this with a certain level of arrogance. Mike Vrabel believes that it's okay. They can go compete and win the AFC South without a competent wide receiver group. It doesn't matter, because Mike Vrabel will figure it out. That Mike Vrabel will figure out how to piece together enough pass rush to overcome the rotational door at secondary. That Mike Vrabel and this offensive line can piece it together by drafting a versatile guy in Peter Skoronski and signing a former first-round pick with talent in Andre Dillard, and say, we can coach it up. I feel like they're approaching this with a little bit of arrogance. And I'm wondering, just, is it going to be able to work out, because they're not truly putting both feet into the AFC South bucket. They have 1 foot in AFC South and 1 foot in developing Will Levis and Tyjae Spears for the future. And you're going to do the splits at some point.
Here's where I don't think that. I think that they are going about it. As we've said, they're trying to do both at the same time. But Austin, I can get on board with them if they're justified, because they believe that they found their future franchise quarterback. That's why they don't have a wide receiver. It's because of Will Levis. And I've said this since Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions in the divisional round against the Cincinnati Bengals, that they've got to go replace Ryan Tannehill. I got to applaud them. They did. They found the heir apparent. They found the guy. They tried with Malik Willis, and their general manager got fired because of that pick. and some other things. But Will Levis, I can be okay. It's not arrogant to go find your franchise quarterback if you believe that Will Levis is your franchise quarterback. And all of their actions tell me that that is the case. Wanting to trade back into the first round, trading up in the second round, going with Levis, and developing Levis behind Ryan Tannehill. And Austin, they are not having their full cake because they don't have a wide receiver right now, right? So there is a piece missing. But Austin, there was always going to be some piece missing. They addressed their offensive line situation. They could have drafted the heir apparent to Derrick Henry if he's not on the team. But what did they do? They drafted a quarterback and a running back because their quarterback and their running back is in the last year of their contract.
Mm-hmm.
So their decisions make sense. Will it work? No clue.
Yeah, but they also have, the free agent crop of guys they're mostly 1-year contracts minus Andre Dillard. That's a 3-year deal, right?
Because their money is tied up into two positions.
I know,
their quarterback
but again,
and their running back, which is coming off the books in less than 365 days.
Yeah. Paulie D says Rand equals the future. Vrabel equals win now. And that's the problem. Well, Rand, I think in free agency did a win now, but don't contend and can be competitive now, but not sacrifice the future by signing short-term deals minus Arden Key and Andre Dillard had 3-year deals, but they were all, keeping their future flexibility open, but getting people that were on prove it situations to come in and prove it. Right. And play at a higher level.
Though?
Yeah. I think the free agency approach was smart. The problem is the draft was
it's Levis. No,
I know.
The draft will be represented if Skoronski plays 10 years for the Titans, and if Levis actually works. It's not Tajay Spears or Colton Dowell or Wiley. It doesn't matter about those guys. This draft will be defined by 2 players, and those players are what are the 4 key positions that every team needs. What's the value? What are the 4 positions?
Quarterback, blindside tackle, pass rusher, and corner elite. Now
they drafted 2 of those guys.
Well, I
can't knock them.
I do think some of those. I think wide receiver is quickly becoming into that lump,
but it's not in the 4.
No, but I think if we revisit that now, I think the NFL is showing that the wide receiver position is becoming a lot more valuable than what it was 4 years ago when we created them.
Still not in the 4.
I think it's trying to. I think we should probably maybe this summer revisit that.
It's still not in the 4.
That's okay. All right.
And
so
I'll argue that till I'm blue in the face. That has been a staple. Has it risen up the ranks? Yes, but it still has not cracked the top 4 of most important on a football team.
All right. So I saw somebody talk about how now it's about staying healthy. Bear Z says health. Now it's health. Have addressed the issues of skill. Now can the guys stay healthy? Absolutely. And then go ahead. Yeah.
No, I agree with Bear Z, right? And they haven't had that the last 2 years.
Yeah. And then John comes back and says, I just wish the Titans gave us a clear direction, building for the future. Okay, fine. Trying to win now. Great. But they haven't made any moves that clearly let us, I'm guessing the fans, know one way or the other. And again, that's the whole conversation, is that they're trying to do both. They're trying to win the division again, and they're also trying to set themselves up for the future. Can they pull it off? They've got a head coach that believes he can. So we'll see how it goes.
This kind of transitions into our next topic, but there's a bridge, just like the Titans are trying to do. Here's a bridge. And I will say this is okay. It's not a knock, but I agree with Taylor S. Hurst and the comment.
Okay.
I believe that it is evident that you are not on board with Will Levis, and that's okay. You were out when he was drafted. And that's fine. But I think that's impacting, which probably it should, how you feel about the Titans and their future. And my thought process is whether he works or he doesn't, the Titans chose him.
Yes. And so Taylor is saying,
I respect that, though.
Yeah.
You know what would piss me off? If they just kept on throwing Tannehill out there. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like there's an end to Tannehill's tenure.
Yeah, at some point, for sure. Taylor's correct. My opinions also impact my future opinions. Yes. Saying how I feel about Will Levis goes into my thoughts about the overall picture. And yeah, I do not think Will Levis is a franchise quarterback. Again, it has nothing to do with three things. It has nothing to do with him playing at Kentucky. It has nothing to do with him allegedly putting mayo in his coffee once. It has nothing to do with him eating a banana peel. I've never said anything in my Will Levis conversation, not once, about any of those three things. It has to do with his decision making, his inaccuracies, and his ability to come up short in big moments. That is why I don't believe in Will Levis as a franchise quarterback in the NFL.
He's
That's
a
it.
developmental quarterback.
That's fine. But it doesn't have anything to do with those three things that Ryan Fields and Big Blue Nation that watch our show. And Jared says Austin hates Kentucky. I don't like Kentucky, but it has anything to do. I hate Alabama.
Hey, then. Whoa. Hey,
I hate Florida. I hate Florida more than any other SEC school. And I'm fine with Ryan Carthon. It doesn't impact me one bit. I've been excited to see Anthony Richardson here because he's exciting overall. But again, it has nothing to do with me graduating from Tennessee and growing up a Vol fan.
Well, the funniest thing about this whole thing is that you actually predicted that the Titans were going to draft Will Levis.
Yeah, that was one of my emotional hedges that usually.
There's an emotional pick right there.
Yeah.
You hate me, I hate you. You're just going to do this in spite. Will Levis.
Well, I had a dream the weekend before the draft that the Titans picked Will Levis at 11.
That would have been too high, as we know. I like the Will Levis pick to develop behind Ryan Tannehill for a year. I think that's smart. That makes sense. It justifies him being a second-round pick or a later round pick, however you want to put it. But that, if they would have drafted him at 11 and had him start and cut Tannehill, I would have been in a completely different headspace, but they didn't. So I give a little golf clap to the approach. The approach is important, and they are telling us that he's developmental. Now, if they cut Tannehill June 1st, I'm going to have a heart attack.
All right. Well, we'll keep our calendars ready for June 1st to see what happens. All right. A to Z Sports, Zach, let's go ahead and transition into Will Levis, who has a new jersey number. We'll ask, are you guys thumbs up or thumbs down on Will Levis's new jersey number? That is the number 8, apparently. He tweeted out it was always 8. His jersey number is now 8. He's not going to be 7 because Malik has that. He wore 17 in high school, and that's Tannehill's. So we talked about it on Friday some. Will Levis has chosen 8. Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on Will Levis going with 8? But Zach, I know you're 2 thumbs up on Wilson County Hyundai.
Yeah, Wilson County Hyundai. You got however many thumbs that you can find. You can have thumbs up for the Palisade. You can have thumbs up for the Elantra, the Sonata. Look, they've got a battery-powered vehicle. The Ioniq, that thing is sleek. You charge that bad boy up, you rev it to 88, and you can go right down the road efficiently and effectively. They also have fuel-efficient vehicles, like I mentioned, the full-size SUV, which is the Palisade. It's got third-row seating, all the bells and whistles. It's a great family car for you and your family. You've got a wife and kids. Trade in your mama's minivan for a Palisade. It looks great on the road, and it's spacious. So go to wilsoncountyhyundai.com. If you're in Tennessee and you're looking for a new vehicle, quick trip down I-40 exit 236. That's Wilson County Hyundai. Payne Bone and his team is family owned and operated. That's important. So you can go there and get a great deal. They're not trying to gouge you. Plus, it's on the outside of Nashville, so you don't have those Nashville prices, which is also key. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
With BetMGM, I ended up having a good Sunday. My guy, Nicola, came big with his point total last night. And so I won with BetMGM over the weekend. Zach, hopefully you can bounce back as the NBA playoffs continue. And also you can win with Major League Baseball one-game parlay insurance by opting into that feature on your BetMGM app. That means you get up to $25 back in bonus bets if your Major League Baseball one-game parlay of 4 legs or more falls just 1 leg short. So make sure you opt in Major League Baseball one-game parlay insurance with the BetMGM app. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only new existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and other requirements. Rewards issued non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem against sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Zach, we've got a new jersey number for Will Levis. He said that it was always 8. He is rocking the number 8 with the Tennessee Titans. thumbs up or thumbs down on Will Levis wearing the Mariota?
Well, yeah, you just said it. Thumbs down. This is a marketing. Like, be a marketer. Don't care about your F your feelings. Go with strategy. Because Mariota was a second overall pick, and tons of Titans fans already have Mariota jerseys. And even Mariota played in the new uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't play much, but he did play in the new uniform. So Titans fans went out and bought that jersey. Unique. Because if Will Levis actually does play well and becomes the franchise quarterback for many, many years, I think you want fans to buy jerseys that they haven't bought before. There's an excitement, a chemical in one brain. That's why I was all in on 19. I thought 19 is unique, and there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that are 19. It separates yourself. And that's, I think, what marketers do. And Will Levis decided to go with 8. So I wouldn't have done it, but to each his own.
Yeah.
He probably thinks and he should. The mindset is like, I'm going to be so good, it's not going to matter.
And so Steven says he will switch when Malik is cut.
That could be an option.
That could happen. And I think he would prefer to go to 7. Or hey, if it's post June 1st and 17 becomes available, then maybe he'll switch to that too. But I thought 14 was the right answer here for Will Levis, but not 8. It's just now he's going to be attached to Marcus Mariota because you see a quarterback.
It's not 10.
Yeah, it's not 10, he avoided that, which was a good thing. He avoided 10. His other options were 5, 10, 14, and 19. I think 8 was the second worst of those options. And I don't think 19 is a good quarterback number.
I don't know. Everybody hates the 19, but 19 is savvy and smart.
5 would have been better. 5 would have been a good number.
Yeah, but 19, you are now your own guy. You have an identity. Or, well, he couldn't have gone 0. I can't wait till a quarterback goes 0 because that's going to happen eventually. I actually think that will look cool. So I'm actually pro quarterbacks that will go 0. But 19, you've got Johnny Unitas and who?
That's it.
That's huge.
Yeah, 19.
Now you are solidifying. You are 19, right? Because when you think about other numbers, like when I think of 8, I think of Troy Aikman, to be honest. I don't think of Will Levis. I think you want to separate yourself.
8 is a good quarterback number. I like the number 8 as a jersey number for a quarterback overall. I just think with Will Levis, it's not been enough time for him to rock the number 8 after Marcus Mariota. And also Adrian Peterson was number 8 there for a bit too.
I do think that whoever that chat was, I think that if Malik Willis is cut, he'll switch to 7.
I do too. But again,
I don't know if he'll be cut, but
Aaron Rodgers also rocking number 8 now with the New York Jets. Headed back to his college number because he didn't want to ask Joe Namath to give up 12.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. And it's a new leg of his career. You'll sell more jerseys. I bet you Aaron Rodgers' jersey is going to be the most sold jersey this season.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. But I just don't like 8 for Will Levis. But hey, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out as he'll be out on the field for rookie minicamp. The media will be out there on Saturday, so we'll have a ton of coverage from Titans rookie minicamp with Sam and Buck over the weekend too. So, excuse me. Make sure we get set up for that on Saturday to have our first eyes on Will Levis in whatever jersey number he's got.
And I don't know if this is right, but Michael says he wore 3, talking about Levis in high school. If Farley's cut, that's also a possibility. So you never know what happens before week 1 and the official roster. They could switch some up, but
yeah,
I saw fans to buy your
17.
jersey though.
I saw Levis wore 17 in high school, and I don't think Caleb Farley's going to get cut because if he does, I believe he's got $8 million of dead money if you cut Caleb Farley. So he is not going to get cut. He is going to make the roster and be a special teamer at minimum.
This is funny. At the draft, I took this picture of this guy standing in front of me, and I was thinking to myself, man, you just wasted however much money. It is a CJ Stroud. I don't know if it will
Ooh,
zoom in.
there he goes. That's pretty funny.
Not the right decision there.
No. Hey, ballsy move though. Didn't pay off for you. All right, A to Z Sports. Zach, you have a Ask Me Anything riddle game. We've got 3 riddles.
Yes, 3 timed riddles.
Ooh, 3 timed riddles. Okay, this is gonna be fun to see if me in the chat can win as Zach plays a little riddle game with us. But first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Central. That's Wednesday at 12:30 around lunchtime. We're going to have a doc talk conversation with the Bone and Joint Institute about Tyjae Spears and his arthritic knee. How can a running back be a 3rd round pick with arthritis in his knee and 2 ACLs? And we'll talk about the alleged report that he has no ACL and 1 knee. So that's the Bone and Joint Institute on Wednesday at 12:30 doc talk about Tyjae Spears. Very curious to hear what the Bone and Joint experts have to say about that. They are the destination for you whenever you get hurt in life, if you need surgery, if you get banged up playing rec sports, or if your son or daughter gets hurt playing youth sports. We hope that never happens. It's always inconvenient, but the Bone and Joint Institute can help you out. boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the app today in your Apple or Google Android store, whatever phone you have. Download BetMGM. All right. Austin, I'll ask you this, the same question I asked last week is, how much time do you think you need to guess these riddles?
So I don't know what, with trivia, I understood more of what I was getting myself into. You told me I had, a certain amount of quarterbacks to name, and that was easy to find time. I have no idea what these riddles are going to be. It's kind of like I'm in the dark on this.
Well, I know, but pick your time.
5, all 3 riddles or each riddle?
No, each riddle.
Oh, like 2 minutes a riddle? I have no idea.
I'll even with you 1:45.
1:45 per riddle?
Per riddle.
Okay.
Because you may be able to get these. I don't know.
Yeah,
either,
I have no
right?
idea.
And the chat will help. All right. I will start the clock after I read it a second time.
All right.
What can run but not walk? What can run but not walk? And your time has started.
A car?
So how do you want to gather your information and submit a final answer?
I mean, there's several answers. Like water runs but doesn't walk. A car, any vehicle runs but doesn't walk. Or Billy says, I mean, any electronic device can run, but like a refrigerator can run but not walk. I mean, there's so many options here.
Damn, this is going to be tough. It's not the answer that this riddle site has.
Antonio says Tyjae Spears.
All right, love of the show.
That was really funny.
That is the love of the show right there. That was good.
Tiffany says her mouth can run but can't walk. That's pretty good. Again, there's
I didn't realize that there were going to be multiple answers.
I mean, there's so many answers here.
All right, so you're close on this one.
The answer you were looking for is what?
Is a river.
A river. Okay.
Let's try this other one.
Okay.
What bank has no money? What bank has no money?
Like it could also be a river bank. Could also be a speedway bank on a racetrack, has no money. A blood bank, they have money because you probably get paid.
That is the correct answer.
Blood bank?
Yes.
Oh, well, shout out to Jason Martinez, who got that one right.
All right. Here's
so again, multiple answers.
Yeah, I get. This is an experiment.
Eric just says Eric's bank account has no money.
All right. Next one. This is a little bit longer, so maybe this works. I can fly but have no wings. I can cry but have no eyes. And wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I? I can fly but have no wings. I can cry but have no eyes. Wherever I go, darkness follows me. What am I?
My first thought was time, but I don't think that's it because it doesn't cry.
Correct.
A cloud can fly with no wings, can cry by raining. What was the last part?
Wherever I go, darkness follows me.
Yeah. So clouds.
That is correct.
All right. Good job, guys. I'm going to go give the first cloud answer a lot of credit on this one because Travis was the first one with cloud. Matt was also with me on the time part. Titans Kyle said cloud. Sean says cloud. A lot of clouds came in.
I've got one more and then we'll wrap this up.
All right.
My last one. And then we'll probably never do this again. I am lighter than air, but 100 people cannot lift me. I am fragile. What am I? I am lighter than air, but 100 people cannot lift me, but I am fragile. What am I?
Lighter than air. 100 people cannot lift, but fragile. See, this one's tougher for me.
Finally, we get one that is tough.
Bear Z says ego. Oops. David says trust. Read it one more time.
I am lighter than air. 100 people cannot lift me, but I am fragile. What am I? You're
ego makes sense. Spirits is interesting. I think ego, lighter than air. I think ego is the right way to go with this. Lighter than air, 100 people can't lift me, and fragile. Feelings, ego, spirits, like that. That's where we're going to go with.
I would say to that, 100 people could lift an ego, right?
Yeah, that's what that was my whole.
That is not the
hesitation.
Right
yeah,
you got 30 seconds, so I'll give you that.
I mean, that's kind of all I got here. I don't really see anything else in the chat that makes me feel one way or the other about. Denise says relationship, but I don't think that's it either. What is it?
All right. I do see it in the chat.
Gravity.
Jabu got it with his third word.
Bubble.
A bubble. A bubble is lighter than air. 100 people cannot lift a bubble, and it is very fragile.
Huh.
So start off slow, got to a tough one. That's all I wanted to do.
Well, we started off fast and then we ended slow. And
I started off slow with it, right? Yeah.
Somebody did say that Zach wasn't ready for this big brain chat this morning.
Hey, kudos to the chat. I mean, and they reeled them off quick. There was one of these that I was gonna ask, and then I reread it. And like sexual innuendos, and it has nothing to do with that. But I could not read it out loud because I would have gotten destroyed. So I did say
Bork says 100 people are going to lift a bubble challenge just to prove Zach wrong.
Probably so.
All right, guys, great show this morning here on a Monday, talking about all the different directions the Titans are trying to go. Don't forget, we'll be live tomorrow morning again on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. Also, Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. So give the show a like before you go. Subscribe to our channel for all of our content. As Titans open up OTAs and mini camps throughout the month of May and June, you're going to want to make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel for all of our practice content there. So check us out. Like before you go. Buck Rising live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime at 8. We'll see you tomorrow on a Tuesday. Appreciate it as always.